car usually tells me. It's 10th. There we go. Whew, man, that was difficult. Tuesday the 10th. Song is called Slappin' the Bass Fisherman. Fortunately, it was just a single mic in a room, and I wish there was a little more volume on the bass in the song, because Leon is he's really getting down on the bass in the song, so I wish it was a little more obvious. But all we had was one room mic at the time we recorded this one. This is back in like 2015 or 16. So it's an older one, and didn't have the full drum mic set up and the full room set up. It was just one room mic in a box that I made out of sound deadening with two sides open, sub James, and I would angle it in all the mics, the amps and everything, until I got the sound as even as I could get it. And I would play. I'd play the drums while I was adjusting levels while playing. So sometimes I go one-handed on the mixer board, adjust the levels and shit. So my job is a little difficult sometimes to play drums and then also listen to the sound. Like, nope, he's too loud, he's too quiet. Oh, we need more bass, we need more all that stuff. So it was a good time though. But yeah, slapping the bass fisherman or slapping the bass fisherman. I don't know what you want to call it. It's kind of to you. Okay, your Tantrix 2.0. My apologies. Let's see what you got. I'm just kidding. I guess for source, that's the way to do it, right? Hit the plus key on your bug eye. Yeah, I mean, that's the way to do it, right? So today I'm tuning a rally car. And rally cars have unique challenges. And I've inspired you to get to open source? That's like contra inspiration. I mean, not to bag on the open source guys, right? Like that myriad of people that no one knows who they all are because it's random people helping out have done a pretty good job at identifying lots of things in the ROM, but they've come nowhere close to replicating what Cobb has done. You know what I mean? So there's just so much more available what Cobb's done. Gotcha. And it was open source. My tunes in Cobb are locked, so obviously you can't look at those, right? Anyway, so I'm tuning a rally car. I'm on my way there right now. Mircha's yellow, it's like an 08 or 09 STI. Mircha, he competes in several different classes and different organizations. He does one in the US, he does one in Canada, and he does like 2 different classes. And so because of that, he gets the pleasure of having different restrictor requirements for those classes. Now, if you don't know anything about a restrictor, this is what it sounds like. It restricts the power output of the engine by putting a fixed orifice size in front of the turbo. So, wow, I don't know, there's a fire right here next to the road. It's not there anymore, but that shit's all burnt. My phone's upside down, otherwise I would hit the button to show you guys, but it's on the wrong side. It's under the camera. Anyway, so this restrictor is on the suction of the turbo. Some guys have good ideas how to do it. Some guys have bad ideas how to do it because of lack of understanding of what an engine does. And at one point, I was one of the bad idea guys. But after many years of investigation, and then at one point I talked to the Vermont Sports Car, and obviously they don't want to give away their secrets and that kind of stuff, but I was able to figure some things out too that they do. and apply it to what I did. And I have this really sweet design for a rally engine, but it's not cheap. And a lot of rally drivers go through engines because they either buy shitty ones, or they have bad builders, or they have bad tuners and stuff. These guys are just hobbyists trying to have a good time. So I get that. But anyways, he competes in the Canadian and US and another class. So he has like 3 restrictor options that he has to bounce back and forth from, which is a pain in the dick, right? It's difficult to change a restrictor out of these things. And the tune changes, right? The boost control changes, the power output changes, everything changes on it. So he has to have 3 tunes, 3 different restrictors, and all that shit. And so we're doing 2 of those today. Pretty sure that's what's going on. I told him that I would do the tunes as long as he changed out the restrictor. Now, that being said, he's got to be able to do it fast enough, and I got to be able to do tunes fast enough to get the fuck out of there by like 1 something, because I got to take the BMW in for some warranty work. So hopefully his whoever mechanic he brings, or whatever mechanic tier 1's using, can change the restrictors out in a decent amount of time. So what kind of challenges do we have with that? Well, there's a few things with rally cars that are unique. 1, you get the restrictor in there, right? That's obviously a huge deal. 2, as a tuner, the experience can be challenging because you're in this sweat box of a car with no climate control on a hot day in a dyno cell. It's loud because they're almost always straight piped all the way to the back. And in the very back of the car, they put a cat back there because they want to have the restriction as far away from the turbo as possible, which gives the gases more time to contract and become less voluminous to reduce restriction. Problem is sometimes it's so far back the cats clog up, and then that doesn't do any good. So, but they're loud as balls. Often, what you'll find is that the cars aren't making any fucking power, and you look underneath and the exhaust pipe is squished flat from an impact on something. I've had that happen so many times on the dyno, and I'm like, hey dude, your shit's flat. That's killing our power output. You know, what are we gonna do? Got to cut it off with a hacksaw or something, and then they got to reattach their shit later on. Who knows what's got to happen. The cars are hard to get in and out of because they got the cages all the time. There's no passenger seat for my laptop. I got to get like a cardboard box or some shit and stick it over there to tune. Most of the factory ducting, as far as like cooling and intercooling is concerned, is gone. So the cars don't have good ducting to the intercooler, and they often have poor intercooling efficiency. Or they pulled the air conditioning condenser out, but they didn't seal the radiator to the core support within it. We use pool noodles, believe it or not. And they lose a lot of cooling on the track as well. On the track, right? It's a fucking rally car out on the stage. So one thing we did is, one year we were tight on time. We went and grabbed pool noodles and some aluminum dowel, and ran the dowel through the noodle, and then zip tied the dowel to drill a small hole in the noodle, wrapped it around the dowel and stuck to the core support, and sealed the radiator up and down on both sides all the way around with pool noodles, which is great because it's cheap and the dowel ain't gonna fail. The pool's noodle's eventually gonna rot away, but when we did that, we gained a lot of cooling efficiency or performance, or just overall capacity out of the car by capturing the high pressure air in front of the radiator and not letting it spill past, which is really important. A lot of people forget or don't know that cooling with the radiator isn't just about exposure to air, right? Like, I could take the whole front end off the car, just have a radiator sitting there in the middle of the air, and it would cool less effectively than if I had the radiator support and the lower tray and a hood and a bumper to ensure that in front of the radiator was a high pressure area and behind the radiator was a low pressure area. That's what pushes air through that radiator and gives you really good cooling. I had a bunch of drifter kids back on the western side that were always like, oh, my car's always overheating. I don't have anything on it, just radiator up there. I'm like, well, that's why, dude. You gotta you need your front end. You need something to create a difference of pressure across that radiator to get good flow. It doesn't just put it in the air, right? That doesn't work. So on one of them, we made just a metal box on the front of the radiator, and that metal box trapped the high pressure air in front of it, and the dude had no more coolant problems. So a lot of people don't understand pressure versus just exposure, right? Like it's called a radiator, but you don't want to have to rely on radiation as your mode of heat transfer to get this thing cool. You want convection or something, right? You don't want radiation. That's the least effective form of heat transfer. Convection, conduction, and radiation. Conduction is the most effective. Sorry, saw some construction over there. I was checking out. Sorry, I like to pay attention while I'm driving and not strictly talking to the camera. When I get into town, it's a little more difficult. Okay, so rally car difficulties. The suspension is not usually an issue, but all the freaking plastic under tray plate, splash guard, dust guard, rock chip guards they have under there are. I try and strap a car on the dyno, and there's a big plate in the way, and there's blocking everything. Some people use metal, some guys use plastic, some guys use like that Teflon kind of stuff, right? And that creates problems with trying to get them on the fucking dyno and strapped down. Oh, Cody's here. He's got Cody is our old mechanic, our old tech, our old Tier 1's old tech is Mirch's mechanic, so he's here. Hopefully he'll be cranking out them restrictor replacements. I'm here in front of JDM Alley, actually. If we look out the window, let's see, let me put this around. And just turn it that way, and then turn this way. That's a right-hand drive JDM 300Z. I was supposed to tune, but it's a fucking auto, so that didn't work out. That's Tanner Skyline. He just put a G35 1050 on it with a custom header and exhaust stuff, and then that's an R32 GTR, an actual GTR. This one's a GTST, that one's a GTR. This one's got RB25 Neo in it, with that 35 and all that. It fucking rips. Flex fuel, link, EMS, etc., etc. This one was gonna get a link, but I went to tune it, and it was automatic, and the link doesn't work with the automatic, so that fucked all of that up. Unfortunately, the guy paid for all that shit. Never once told me in all of our conversations that it was an automatic. And then I was like, dude, this is an auto. He was like, yeah, didn't you know that? Why the fuck would I know that? You know, nice guy. I got no qualms with him, but like, he's like, well, I figured you would know it was an auto. I'm like, what? Like, I'm sorry, but to me, sports cars aren't fucking autos, man. Especially old JDM sports cars. Definitely not autos at all. Ugh. I don't think there's any Japanese car with an auto that I like. I can't think of a single one. The Japanese autos are absolutely tragic. Yeah, that's really, really bad. But yeah, so those 3 JDM cars right there. I'm supposed to tune all 3 of them. Well, now 2 of them. I'll probably do Tanner's GTR today after I get the BMW worked on, depending on how long that takes. I gotta be nice to it though. It's still on the stock bottom end, so that 35 1050 is gonna be a little laggy, and the power output's gonna be a little low for what it's capable of, because I can't go and blow it up for him as much as he might want me to, right? Oh man, I'm fucking tired. Look at my eyes. I stayed up way too late last night, till like 3:30 in the morning. Of all stupid shit to be doing, right? I stayed till 3:30 playing Civilization. Time Suck. I never played it before, so a friend wanted me to play with him, and we ended up staying up all fucking night. Let's see. So the GTR there, it's an RB26. No VVT like this one's got, and this is not really VVT, right? It's just on off, so it's not really variable. It's just one of the other positions. Advance or no advance. That one has none of that because it's just a 26, but it's got a 3584 RS on it. Don't park your fucking car there, lady. Fuck. Yeah, 3584 RS on it. So that one should be fun too. It's got a custom setup on it. Should be nice. Good time. So back to the rally car question. Someone asked a question about it. Let me see. Other than floor restriction to decrease power, how else does the restrictor affect the power band? The power band is drastically affected in how it's shaped. Whoops, wrong button. And how it's shaped. The power band, you get a big torque spike, and okay. Sorry, phone seizure. So the power band on a rally car. Well, the idea is that, yeah, the HKS has one. The idea is to get the most power you can all the time, right? Like, I have this restrictor, I need to get as much power as I can out of the car all the time. So what does that mean? Well, that means the car is gonna make 230 wheel, and how soon it makes it depends on the engine setup. Does it have a long stroke and, you know, a high compression and a small enough turbo that it can spool fast enough? And if it does, the answer is yes to all those, then you're gonna get like 230 horsepower at 3,000 RPM, and you're gonna hold that until about 6,000 or so. So your horsepower is gonna be flat. If you do it right, it's gonna be flat. Because airflow is horsepower, and you get one set amount of airflow, or you're gonna get a set amount of horsepower. So what does that look like? Well, the horsepower is flat, so the torque is what? Torque's a big spike that falls down really fast. I did an Evo that had stroked restrictor, you know, all that shit, and the Evo made 505 foot-pounds of torque to the wheels on our dyno, and 235 horsepower. And so when you look at like Pastrana's cars and that kind of stuff, that's what they do. They have 500 something pounds of torque, but 200 something horsepower. It's like a diesel. It looks a lot like a diesel, really, with just like fucking all this torque, and then it falls off, and then the horsepower is flat. And that's how the rally car should be tuned. What's funny though is I posted a picture of the dyno curve on the internet one time, and a bunch of people were flaming, dude, whoever tuned that fucking car doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, blah 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 blah. And I thought it was hilarious because every one of those idiots was fucking wrong. That tune was perfect. It's exactly what you want out of a rally car, because it's all the power you can get as soon as you can get it, and which means all the torque you can get. And those guys love torque when they come bombing out of a turn or using the throttle to help steer the car or whatever. So it was really funny, all the shit talk that people had on my dyno curve, but they're all just ignorant fucks that have no idea what they're talking about. Pretty hilarious. So yeah, a properly tuned rally car is gonna have a gigantic torque spike that's just gonna fall straight on its fucking face, and horsepower is gonna be a flat tabletop. That's what it's gonna look like. Now with the Subaru, we don't get that. Subarus have ass geometry, and if you're a 2.5 liter rally guy, you're fucking hurting yourself. You got to get rid of that 2.5. Stroke a 2 liter. That's the proper rally engine. That's what everybody does that knows what they're doing with Subarus that wants to be successful at rally racing. You stroke the shit out of a 2 liter. You stroke it as far as you can stroke it. You know, make the rod whatever length it can be to fit in there. Run as much compression as you can for the fuel legs you're running, and have the turbo spool as quick as you can have it spool, and try and have a turbo that's capable of a high pressure ratio. Now I say that, what's pressure ratio? Well, pressure ratio is the ratio between the outlet of the turbo compressor and the inlet of the turbo compressor. And if you think about it, when you're at peak flow on a restrictor, there's a low pressure at the inlet of the turbo. The outlet pressure isn't very high. You're looking at, you know, a peak of like 14. You're lucky on a 2.5, those guys get no boost. And then at redline, it's like 5 PSI or something, right? But the suction, the compressor. So the turbo needs to have the ability to run a high pressure ratio. Yes, Amir Chat, I see you right there for your tune. And he's got a 2.5, like I said. 2.5 suck for rally racing because the geometry is totally wrong. But that's what the US guys get, right? So the best answer is you stroke the shit out of a 2 liter as much as you can. And the reason is this is the reason. So this so you can understand why it's that way. With a restrictor, it's a lot like it's like a port in the head, okay? If this port can only flow so much airflow, same with the restrictor. So I want to get air into the cylinder, what do? Well, I can hold the valve open longer, and flow rate times time, right, becomes mass or volume, or whatever flow you're looking at, if it's mass per second or volume per second. So we'll say CFM, cubic feet per minute. If I have 10 cubic feet per minute of available flow rate, I don't want to just do it for half a second. I want to do it for as long as I can to get the most volume out of it, or mass through it. The restrictor is the same way, but how do I do that on an engine? The RPM is the RPM, right? And the cams are the cams. Well, the cams is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is you give the piston more time at the bottom of the stroke. Wait, hold on a second. So the piston, what happens is when you stroke an engine with a short rod, you get what's called a crappy rod ratio, right? Well, it's not crappy if it's for the job that you're trying to achieve. That's why for the airplane engines, I would stroke them and use a shorter rod, because they only ran to 4,000 RPM or so. So I wanted to get the speed profile of the piston ideal for the application that I was in. So in the rally car, what we're trying to do is throw that piston through TDC as fast as we can. Right? Now what that does, that adds a ton of energy really fast to the charge, hopefully gets everything mixed up really well, and creates a lot of torque. Then as the piston moves down the bore, it technically speeds up in the middle and then slows down at the bottom. Now, if I let that piston sit there for a long time, that turbo has time to pump air into the engine. Right? That piston slows down, I'm pumping air into the engine through this restrictor, right? Because this is my flow limitation, is the restrictor. And I feed it in there, and then eventually I shut the intake valve, the piston comes back up. I have more in that engine than I would if I had a different rod ratio. If it was the other way around with a short stroke and a long rod, the piston goes through bottom dead center really fast, right? And then that pushes, that doesn't give the turbo time to fill the engine through that little restrictor. So I stroke the shit out of it, run a really short rod, the piston moves really slow through bottom dead center, fills that engine full of air, and then you trap all that and you compress it and you get lots of power. You get more than you would get otherwise. That's why that Evo made 505 foot-pounds of torque to the wheels at like 2,300 RPM, right? That Evo was killing all the Subarus, all of the 2.5 Subarus, right? But Travis and all those guys, they have an 83 millimeter stroke in a 207 engine, right? So it's a really stroked 2-liter, high compression, turbo that's capable of the special compressor, capable of a high pressure ratio, right? That's why those guys are able to get 500 pounds of torque out of their Subarus, where the 2.5 liter guys are stuck with like 340, 350, right? They're lucky to get that much torque out of them because they're just not the right geometry. Now, the 2.5 liter is a 79 with a semi-short stroke. It's not as bad as a 2 liter would be with a 75, right? But the bore is really big, and that wide bore is great for high-end flow and port flow, but it's not good for efficiency and combustion and burn speed. So if we shrink that bore up, that gives us a better burn at the top of the cylinder too, and gives us a better burn profile. That's basically the best way I can say it. But yeah, so the 2 liter is a better way to go. Also, because the 2 liter has a slightly lower displacement, and you're pushing that boost in with the turbo, you just get fucking more out of it. It's weird. It's like a weird dynamic. You'd think more displacement would do better, but it just doesn't. Get the long stroke, short rod, small displacement, and you can get a lot of freaking torque out of them. It's really impressive. Anyways, I'm waiting for the guys to move the fucking cars from in front of the dyno. Mircha looked at me. He's like, over there. He's, oh, this car. The pink car is all right, I guess. Not ideal, but Lane's car blocking the dyno is definitely the killer. Let me show you. I mean, he sees the cars here. He sees us here. My phone won't turn around for some reason. The camera won't switch. There we go. Lane, your car. Yeah, more stroke, more leverage. That's true. Yeah, you get a little more of that. you get your crank angularity goes up with a short rod, and it moves the power band to the left. When you have a crappy rod ratio, it moves the power band to the left. And so if your goal is an engine that doesn't rev high anyways, then adjust that rod ratio so you get the performance you want where you want it. When you move a piston fast through TDC, at lower speeds you get more torque, but at higher speeds it runs out, right? Like now the piston's moving too fast, you can't burn the air fuel at the right time. Oh, they do horribly in rally. Yeah, it'd be the worst combination for rally. A D-stroke 2.3 would be terrible. With a restrictor, right? It's all about the restrictor. If you don't got a restrictor and you're open class and you do what the fuck you want, then do whatever makes horsepower, right? But if you have a restrictor in place that's to limit you to 207 horsepower, then your target should be to make as much torque as you can, because that means you make as much horsepower as you can for the narrow range that you have it, right? So yeah, I mean, if you're in a restrictor class, then long stroke, poor rod ratio, because your RPM range is going to be narrowed anyways. Now, if you're in a class that has no restrictor level horsepower limitations, which they don't have in rally, but they used to, right? That was Group B. If they had that, then you would just do whatever makes power, whatever makes the power that you want in the shape that you want it to be. So like Pikes Peak in my SVX, that's going to be a 2.3. Taking the 6 out of the SVX, reduce the weight, improve the weight balance, make more room for turbo stuff, have a low mount close turbo to a 2.3 with a dry sump. Oh, you better air more than that, buddy. You're gonna fucking... Okay, good. So the Pikes Peak hill climb car is gonna be a 2.3. High compression, low mount, etc., etc. But there's no limitation on that. It's not gonna be a gigantic turbo though. I'm gonna shoot for like 500 or 600 horsepower at the crank. As it was when we set the record last time, it was just on a 2.5 liter with a Dom 1.5, and the record still stands since 2015. All-wheel drive Subaru, all-wheel drive being the key. So to do it right, you don't need to have 800 horsepower. You just gotta have the cooling available for what you have in the downforce and be able to hold a nice consistent time. But I want a little more. I want a little more fun out of it, and so I'm gonna do 2.3. All right. Well, they moved the cars out of the dyno door for me. There's another rally car here too. I didn't realize there's 2 rally cars here today. Sweet. That's what we got. Look at my shit. For NA build, for NA, I would do the EG33, really. I don't know. I haven't done them myself, but I would do the EG personally. Extra displacement goes a long way. It's basically it's EJ with 2 more cylinders. Now the EZs have longer stroke and everything too, so they do really good as well. But and then the ABCS, but dude, if it's easy with ABCS, I guess I would say ABCS car. I take that back. Here's some harnesses. Yep, Libby's car, the front one, and this is the other rally car up there for that one. They claim it wasn't defective, but I don't believe them. So I'm gonna test them both on that car. I'm gonna test that one with the M-Tron on that rally car too, to make sure that if the cylinders or if the sensors don't calibrate correctly, to show that it's that fucking harness is dicked up. He's like, it's fine. All the same color. Yeah, it's annoying. But this Boomslang harness here is fucking sweet. Like, he's got this as an extension for the communication port, so I don't have to have my LAN cable plugged into the side of the computer. He's got the CAN bus already pinned out for us. Awesome. He's got the O2 sensor already pinned out and wired for it and everything. So cool. It's a sweet harness. I like the harness. Yeah, really cool.
It looks nice. Shirt.
Yeah, thank you. I've had it for years. I've never worn it. There's a Subaru and a VW.
single cam 2.5.
Yeah.
We had one last week too.
I know, a different color one.
Yep.
Yep.
It's funny because when he said there was a Vanagon coming, I was like, same one?
Yep. But no, different one.
Yep.
Talked to Chase last week. Apparently the block is within spec, and he's going to be getting one for me.
Who's that?
We would sit down and brainstorm how you want to put it together.
Who's that?
I think it was Matt Martin.
Oh.
So Libby's car is going to get the M-Tron, and then that rally car is getting, well, it's got a Hall Tech in it. It'll probably get another M-Tron, though, for testing. What's up, guys?
Hey.
That's Mircha. This is the yellow one over there. Yeah, I showed them JD and Alley.
We got Skylines, we got rally cars, we got
Skylines and rally cars. Busted ass Subarus. Beamer. Okay, so what's with the other rally car? What's that one?
Came in for a 15 SGS steering rack.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see that.
That's it.
Faster turnies.
It's tuned by another local tuner.
So whose coolant is that?
That's Lane's. His car broke.
Which car?
This is Beamer.
Lane's?
He broke it yesterday.
Wait. Let me guess. It's either the pipe that goes to the front of the radiator, or
We routed his flex fuel sensor, and he stuffed the harness in where the ECU and the controller is for the water pump. And I think he fiddled some of the wires.
Is that fuel though?
That's cool.
it looks like coolant.
Water pump has no voltage.
So the car will heat on you?
Yeah, in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, because it's only water pump is the electric one. There's no mechanical pump.
Yeah. So it went from 210 sitting here to 230 getting to the end of the road.
And you're like, wait a
It's
second.
like, no, I don't like that.
So where's it now?
It's right there,
He left it here.
next to the blue Zach stuff.
Oh, okay, up there. That's a puddle.
Yep,
You should see our puddle out there. It's green. Looks like Fernand Lake.
it's not green.
Looks like Fernand Lake.
Don't worry about it.
All right, well, let's
Some asshole put UV dye in it.
Well, that's a bummer. Injector O-rings? Yep, lots of injector O-rings. All right, let's open this dyno up. Get this rally car on the dyno. What? It's always back on. Yeah, because the exhaust goes out the exhaust funnel. Yep.
Can I bring it in?
Just up back at the front. Right. Gotta open the doors. Stack of tires out here now. Do 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 do.
They were $80 off.
Hi, Cody.
Hey, Dom, how's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Looking great, you know.
What the fuck is that? It's got a BMW exhaust. Subaru bracket. Some shit. Some other shit. What is that? Uncooked cinnamon rolls or something? What the fuck? fuck are these? Like flans or something? Uncooked cinnamon rolls or flan or what the fuck is that here? Lumber cart? Oh yeah. Yeah, dude, shit shows up here. Like fucking shopping carts and lumber carts and everything, like the little alleyway here. There's things show up back here. Bums, transients, homeless, whatever you want to call them, thieves. They all just grab shit and hide back here and spunk on it or whatever. There was one, it was a box that said, the box said it was like laser freaking something, like, you know, badass, whatever. Open it up, it was just full of pieces of metal. So it was pretty funny. It was just a case that had square chunks of metal. Made it heavy. There was no laser or something in it, so it was just sitting behind the shop. It was like they saw the name on it, grabbed it, and ran out, and then got here. They were like, "Oh, it's just fucking metal bricks," and then just left it. It's pretty funny. So there's all kinds of shit shows up. A electric shopping cart, you know, showed up. All kinds of shit. All right, check this out. So remember I was talking about the cat at the back. So there's the cat at the back. They're required to have a cat, so they just stuff them in the very, very end of the tailpipe.
Cat in the back.
Yep. There's the dyno straps are like on the verge of failing on this thing. So I've been telling Chase for a while to do it, to get new ones, but he has not yet. And as I said to my buddy, I said, there's no plan in that, man. You got a plan for that shit. So hopefully it didn't happen to us today.
Snug fit?
Yep. Yeah, a little close. I can see I'd hold you in place though.
Oh yeah.
But you know, my knees are a little high. All right, are we on?
I'm a bit short.
We're on.
Yeah. No.
Which one? What you got?
Just turn the key.
Oh, there it is. All right.
So the map is still 36 now, but I flipped it to the 34.
For the restrictor?
Yeah, I put the 34 restrictor so we can tune on that.
Okay. So the map's for the 36?
The map is still 36, yeah.
Okay.
So, and it would be awesome if you can rename it so I know 36 mil or something.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the other one 34, and then no restrictor as well.
Okay.
Do you want to go in or what, should I close?
Yeah. Wow, that's really loud. Wow, those injectors are just banging away. Holy shit. Sounds like it's got a spun bearing. Boost gauge don't work. Stuck at 5 pounds of boost. It ain't bad. Back onto the dyno. Done this a few times, luckily. Oh, looks like pretty fucking centered too, actually. Could you hand me the keyboard, please? I forgot to grab it. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your help. Let's shorten this dyno up. Yeah, it's fucking loud. I don't know what it is. What do I got back there? Let's see how close am I? YouTube's mad at me. It says rotate device. Roll in. Am I on it yet? Can't see shit. Am I on that roller yet?
This if you want.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Am I on the roller yet?
Almost.
Okay.
Still needs to come in a little
What injectors are in this?
Huh?
What fuel injectors?
1300s.
13s?
I think so.
Wow. That maybe 1050s?
No, it's on the map. If you look at the map details.
Okay. That's big for 250 horsepower.
Yeah. Well, the engine is all pimped up. It's just, I don't know, we didn't put the... I think it's 1300s we put in. I don't know, there's a few maps there. This one says no ALS. I don't remember if the ALS one was for this restrictor, so that's why I didn't bother changing it ever.
1300s.
1300, yeah. Yeah, the Chase, I mean, Cody probably installed those in.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1300s, huh? Yeah, that's a little overkill.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But without the restrictor, it should be okay, right? If we take the restrictor off, then it would be better.
Oh, it's still way more fuel than you'd ever need. So yeah, you're totally good. That 1300s are what I run on my car, and it's like 650 horse. So you got plenty of fuel
Yeah.
on ethanol. So you got plenty of fuel.
We can make this 650.
Sure, just need a bigger turbo and a bunch of other stuff.
We have fuel.
You got the fuel. Just need the air.
I don't think it can last. I think it's probably can be fine. Brakes are good for 700 horsepower.
Oh, are they? Is that how that works?
Yeah. And the stickers also have it.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yes, we're Mircea.
Yeah.
Where are you from again?
Romania.
Romania. That's right, Romania.
Country of all possibilities.
Yes, my friend just moved back to Romania.
Nice.
He was like he didn't like where the U.S. was going, so he took his family and moved back to Romania.
Okay,
And-
that's going great.
And none of them speak the language, so it's gonna be really interesting. Other than him, he speaks the language, obviously, but
Is he Romanian?
yeah, he's Romanian.
But he speaks the language.
Yeah. So, but the wife and kids don't, and there's as white and American as they could be. So,
I mean, most young people speak English. Old people not so much. So
Right.
they have grandparents that shit out of us.
right, they use their kids to translate.
Yeah.
So, all right. Is this a release? Is this your release? These big tabs here? Is that for the small release? Gotcha.
Both of them, yeah.
Cool.
It's a paddle shifter.
Yeah. It's the most unergonomic paddle shifters ever.
Yeah, well, yeah, I have a long fingers.
Oh, is that what it is? You hold the wheel right here instead?
No, just long fingers. I can reach them from the passenger seat. I don't have long fingers, for
No.
the record.
Yeah.
No, it's that just for What you doing, Cody? Are you still remembering the works here?
All right. Let me start strapping this biatch down. I'm gonna put my phone down. I'll hand it.
Like I said, if you want to, you can throw this.
What's that thing do?
It just
Tripod.
spreads apart, and then if you want, we
So let's
can.
go like that.
Yep. If you
Do
want
one of
that,
these
you-
numbers. This goes this way, like this, like that.
Yep.
All right.
Kind of set it up however you'd like.
Cool. I'll just sit down here then.
You can extend the legs, I guess.
While I strap this bitch down. All right. Get my glasses.
Are you feeling just going along to me?
Oh, I do all the time. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I show a little action while I'm in there.
I had no idea that you. I just subscribed to you. I didn't know you were doing this live stuff.
I got a handful of people that subscribe to my server, my Discord server, and then I teach them how to.
That's awesome.
You know.
Well, you have one more as of half an hour ago, man.
Sweet. Well, I have an actual Discord server. Like that's not YouTube. It's another application.
Oh wow.
And I have lesson modules in there, and I
Oh,
go
you do?
through and teach them how things work. And we
Where do
go
you find
through-
that thing?
Say what?
Where do you find that? Who?
Discord?
Uh-huh.
It's an app, yeah. It's called Discord, and there's a bunch of stuff in there, but
No, I mean, where is your channel thing?
so the link for it is on my website. You go to GetaDomTune.com, and you go to the store or shop. Then there's a link inside the description for the Discord subscription that you can go there. So you can go to the channel without subscribing and talk to people and shoot the breeze and stuff, but the tuning stuff is locked out unless you pay for the subscription.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah, of course.
So. Don't get a whole lot of heat on them, just, you know, like. No more than that though. Just not too much, too much crash or very rough. Yeah. I think that's fine.
So I see
Come on, wait. There you go. That's good.
I see the YouTube stuff, but what is the Discord stuff?
The website doesn't recognize those links, you gotta copy it.
Ah, yeah.
You need a better website, man. Yeah, well, I'm not a designer.
Oh, you made it?
Exactly. So, I only do so much.
It's an engineer website.
I only do so much. All the stuff that we have here. Oh yeah, it's still there. There. Cool. Take care of the hard part for me.
Hey, man.
Mr. Help. Like fucking reunion. Not everybody's used to be nice.
Yeah. Right.
I know.
What's the shirt say? Oh my god.
Been a shirt for years.
You just get the crappiest shirts on the time.
We just bought this one, I think. Long time ago. Get it?
What about that deal that you guys What is this witchcraft? What's that fucking turbo wheel that you guys got?
The G25, I think. Yeah, that's it. I got it.
But they don't know can't touch them, you know?
It's
Check the restrictor, they don't check the fucking.
right. Right.
They're only on what the numbers do from the outside, right?
Yeah, I mean, it might not help, you know? Yeah. It might work with that compressor's keeping a higher pressure ratio, but that pressure ratio that should, in theory, increase the power. And by having a higher flow turbo wheel on there, that might reduce back pressure enough, which might help you increase power too. So it might be a good option. Yeah. And it's $300 for everything you need. You take your part, put a new one in there, put it all together, and do it again. Yeah. So it's here if you want to see it. If you haven't seen it. Right? Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it's legal, yeah. You need to run the slope turbos.
Yeah.
Unless you're Subaru, then you run McLaren too. Most cars run McLaren alternator.
Who does?
Subaru.
Alternator?
The alternator is McLaren.
Why?
Because it's $12,000.
Why would you run that stuff?
I don't know. I think they do a lot of tax evasion. I don't know. Why the fuck would you buy a $12,000 alternator? What is that for?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Are they running a higher voltage system?
I don't think so.
Are they running 16 volts or something? Because some cars do that.
I mean, I don't know. All I remember is that one of them broke, I believe it was a few years ago,
Yeah.
and they pulled out the $12,000 McLaren alternator and replaced it with another $12,000 McLaren alternator. So, wow. Money well spent on that.
Yeah. It's money spent.
Yeah.
Don't know about well spent. It's spent, that's for sure. Prescott Rally. So I remember this now looking at it, his old graph, it wasn't very good. He didn't have a lot of power before. I remember we were trying to figure out why that was. I have no idea if he's worked on it since then or not. Connor, I haven't seen or heard. What kind of box is it in? It's pretty early, right? I don't think the UPS guy's here yet. I'm not seeing anything.
Which one for?
Box for me with a Cobb 4 bar in it. It was used. Yeah. I don't know what kind of box it was in or that kind of stuff.
I know I saw a 4-bar the other day.
Oh, that red one?
It was an Omni.
Oh, no. This is a Cobb. It's just not here yet, probably.
Probably not.
All right, make everybody seasick here, swinging this thing around. That's actually the seat. I'm damned. I make this work. is uncomfortable. The fuck is my laptop? The shoulder bolster is way too fucking large. Tuned this in 2018? Damn. A while ago. So you said the map that's on here now is one I made for you with a 36 mil?
Yeah.
Okay. Back in 2018?
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
You
say
gotta redo it, or I mean, nothing changed in the car. I don't know if maybe your technique changed.
maybe a little bit. Did you ever figure out why it was making so little power before?
Huh?
Did you ever figure out why we're having problems making power on it?
Back then?
Yeah.
I think there was a leak on the intercooler, but it was fixed. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I recognize that beep.
Yeah, but yeah, if you can rename it in the map, put a 36 mil there on the current console. Yeah. So we know what the fuck is going on.
Good. But now the next one that we're doing, this is 34.
34,
right?
yeah,
34,
yeah.
All right. So let me make one that says 34.
That's not mine, right? Oh, 2018. Right. Was it 2018? Yeah, I guess.
But I think it put about 230, 240. It was.
That's your old graph. Right there. On the screen.
Huh.
That's the last one I had for you. So
I think there were a couple of maps. I think you did one for like 100 octane, and then you did one for like 95. Is that
Oh, maybe that's the low octane one.
maybe?
Yeah, that could be.
Because it was about 230, 240 maybe, if I remember.
So what are you running right now?
Around 240, and I'm on the 100 octane one, and that's
No,
the thing.
for fuel type. So are you on 100 octane? What fuel are you on right now?
I'm on E85.
You're on 85 right now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't remember if you nuked all the old maps or not, or all these maps are for 36, because there's one probably with, or I think it was only one, the Neue ALS one. I think you didn't do the ALS anymore.
I can do whatever you want. If you want it, I can do it.
ALS?
Yeah.
Maybe on the, no, the restrictor one, maybe, the ones with the 34 just normal, non-ALS, I guess.
Okay.
But the non-restrictor maybe. They have a couple, like a non-ALS and ALS. I don't know if that's doable. weird that the power band on this one shows like 3,000 RPMs. Pretty low, right?
No, it's a 2.5 with a restrictor on it. So they usually look like. Usually they hold a little better power. Yours was holding the power up, but usually it stays a little flatter, but not much flatter.
I would have expected it to be more like 4,000, 4,000, 5,000, the power band.
Like the peak.
Uh-huh. Seems pretty low. Is the turbo even spooled at 3,000 RPM?
Oh yeah, it's full boost right there. Yeah. You can see where the torque is the highest. That's where the boost is the highest. 32, 35.
Yeah.
I'm adjusting cam timing, slightly different values than what I had before on the last tune. He says he fixed a leak in the intercooler, which would have explained why I had such weird cam timing values, because I was battling back pressure issues. So now I'm putting it back to more expected numbers and see how it performs. So with a rally car, the biggest thing you suffer with now is back pressure. You get that lack of flow through the restrictor. But what happens with that is if you are too aggressive with the wastegate, you get a ton of back pressure. You're trying to spin that turbo up. So at some point, you get diminishing returns. The back pressure is outside the realm of the back pressure is too much. The turbo and everything can't compensate for it. Sputter, tip in it, probably work on that some. probably factory. Probably didn't fuck that at all. I don't know if that was totally defined. Yeah, that's the same. Last time I tuned this, I don't think all the mowing tubes were done yet. So that could have an effect. I don't see 18% correction right now at idle. That's a little concerning. Why such a big correction? Correction at idle? That's weird. I mean, that would sure seem like a leak. I think he's got a leak going on right now. If we got 24% correction at idle. That's not good. Mass airflow is 3.2. That's pretty close to right. Typically they're a smidge higher than that. Right around there is pretty good. I'm gonna double check a few things real quick. I don't know if he has fuel pressure on here or not. Does have fuel pressure pump, okay. So let's see what pressure, well, it should be compensating right now, right? So that looks like an air leak. Honestly, it looks like a vacuum leak right now. Let's see what we got. 6-pound differential. What is pressure right now? Some issues here. And the fuel getting the motor. I think there's not enough air metering. Looks like it. Looks like it's a dirty mass airflow sensor. But just to be sure that it's that, not nothing I did, let's verify my injector scaling is correct for 1300s. Make sure I didn't put something up in there. I mean, the mass airflow value is low at idle. That's almost always going to be dirty mass airflow sensor or something like that. Pretty certain that's what it is, but I gotta double check my work before I say something will be wrong. Still good. Pretty sure on the richer side of the scale. Yeah. So we got an air leak. Cody!
What I do?
Oh, I don't know if you do, man. I was calling for your mechanic.
Oh, Cody!
I think it's got a vacuum leak.
Again?
Or a dirty mass airflow sensor, one or the other. So it's either a vacuum leak or dirty math.
I would go with dirty math.
So they got 25% correction at idle right now.
Okay. Let's spray the math out real quick.
Yeah. Alright, we're gonna clean that shit off. Think of a phone. Oh, it's hot. She's hot. She's smoking. Cylinder back pressure? Do I mean cylinder? The fuck is cylinder back pressure? Oh, still sealed in box. Nice. Yeah, I'll double check.
Big brown box. Thanks, Connor. I appreciate it. I don't know what cylinder back pressure is. The exhaust back pressure is what I mean. The pressure between the turbo and the engine is EGBP. Some people call it. We call it EMAP. So exhaust gas back pressure or exhaust manifold absolute pressure. That's what I meant. And that's what we're dealing with on these things. You get a lot of pressure between the engine and the turbo, and at some point there's so much pressure in the exhaust that it's okay. So if the ratio, okay, so I had to think how to go about this in a lesson sort of way. Okay, so the exhaust pressure is the dry pressure that spins the turbocharger. And that pressure is basically the exhaust stroke of the piston squeezing the air between the turbo and the engine, right? So the power comes on the exhaust stroke. You use power from the exhaust stroke to spin the turbocharger. Whereas on like a supercharger, you just use power straight from the crankshaft. So whatever cylinder is making power is the one that does this thing. Then a turbocharger, you're using pressure in the exhaust, and that pressure is formed between the turbo and the piston. So the pressure difference between the boost and the exhaust back pressure, the boost pressure is usually lower than exhaust back pressure shortly after you reach peak boost, or 4,000-ish RPM or something like that on a normal car. Now in this situation with this car, because the restrictor is there, we need more back pressure to create more turbine pressure or turbine torque to spin it faster, to get the compressor spin faster, to get air in the engine, right? Because it now has this restrictor on it. So it takes more power to drive the turbocharger than before. And that means that the exhaust pressure is higher than it normally is. Now at some point, that exhaust pressure is so high that we now are using more power than we get out of compressing the air. Now it sounds a little weird, but the point is that in the case of a car like this with enough back pressure, what happens is the exhaust valve shuts, right? The piston's moving up, and it's at top at TDC, and then a little bit past that, the exhaust valve shuts. There's still a volume in that chamber, right? You still have 57 cc's of combustion chamber plus 22 cc's of piston dish in there, right? So I've got 70, what did I say it was? 79 cc's or whatever of exhaust gas that's retained in the cylinder that's at a really high pressure, okay? And it's at, say, 40 psi. But our boost pressure is only 15. So what happens is that 40 psi expands on the intake stroke. That's dirty. We have math cleaner somewhere in the other room there, yeah. So that 40 psi is going to expand until the volume has increased enough that now it's at what our boost pressure is. And then air gets to come in, right? So this exhaust pressure is preventing fresh air charge from coming into the engine. What really happens is more than that, is that the intake valve opens and that exhaust pressure expands up the intake port and down the cylinder until it equalizes. And once it equalizes, then the residual volume as the piston is moving down is able to push fresh air in the cylinder. So I'm occupying more space with non-combustibles than I am fresh air charge at some point. It gets to that point. And that's without overlap, right? With overlap, it's even worse than that, because with overlap, it's just pushing backwards in the intake valve while they're both open. So even while the piston's moving up a little bit, and the intake valve opens up and overlap, it blows back in. So that's one reason when we're tuning these things, we remove overlap as much as possible when that back pressure is really high. So we take the intake valve and we retard it back towards the full retard position to prevent the valves being open at the same time, prevent 40 psi exhaust gas from pushing into 12 psi manifold pressure or 8 psi manifold, whatever it is based on the RPM range. So our cam timing curve
is going to depend on back pressure and the difference, that pressure ratio between on the engine. Once it becomes negative, once the exhaust pressure is higher than intake pressure, we want to pull as much overlap as we can out of it. Otherwise, we occupy more space in the port and more space in the cylinder with exhaust gas, which means we're not getting fresh air and fuel in the cylinder. The smaller the restrictor, the sooner that happens. Plain and simple. You get even more back pressure. You get even more drive pressure is needed to move spin the compressor to move the air to get into the engine. I saw some questions come up. Large rotor creates less back pressure. Stop overlaps. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I'm on YouTube's. Yes, I do look at volumetric efficiency for the engine and the turbo. For the turbo, you want to know what efficiency is so that you can try and keep the compressor in an efficient zone. The more efficient the compressor is, the more efficient the turbine is, the less drive pressure it takes to move airflow, to move air, which means the less back pressure, which means the more fresh air charge you get in there because there's less retained exhaust gases. So like, it's this big long chain of shit. Hey Hendrik, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it, and you're very welcome. So right now they're cleaning the MAF. I should have showed you guys on that on stream. Really dirty, completely covered in dirt. So hoping that the cleaning helps get the mass airflow reading at idle back to where it should be. I mean, realistically with this car, I could go speed density with it. The reason I don't go speed density on these rally cars a lot is because they go through such huge elevation changes that I don't get to see them all during the tune, right? I can only simulate so much and estimate so much. I don't get to see it in action. So when they're going up and down mountains and going to different, races, whether it's a one on the coast like Olympus, it's on the coast because then they can climb up, or whether it's 100-acre wood in the middle of the country, whether it's something at sea level or wherever, like it's got this wide range, and nothing is more accurate than mass airflow as long as the sensor's clean. Nothing's more accurate than math. Right? That tells you exactly how much mass is entering the engine, and all the math is easy from there. With speed density, it's all an estimate, right? And I don't want to estimate one of these guys' cars. I want to have the most accurate fuel, air, spark, timing, etc. So the math is a good way to go. The problem is they can't get dirty, they can't get wet, they can't get clean. So
Hopefully.
we ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got. RD injectors with no fuel radial dampers, they're going to make them loud. Have UV explain how V improves in any engine, still haven't figured that out. How VE improves in any engine. I don't understand the question. If you could elaborate on that a little bit, then maybe I can make a video or tell you what I've done. Airflow did go up significantly. Now we're at 4. So it has gone up quite a bit, but we're still really lean. Yeah, if you don't have dampers, you're doomed. It helps some. Yeah, the dampers are such an easy fix, really. Like, they're just an easy fix. And if you already have radium rails, you just screw them into the rail. That helps. But in the rail only helps so much, It's very handy to have them in line with the fuel rail, with the hard lines close to the body, too. That's what the factory ones are for. Kill that injector tick in the car. Yeah, I'm still fucking maxed out here on correction. It only helped a little bit. It only helped a little bit.
That math's probably hammered, dude.
It could be.
I mean, there was mud falling out when I
spraying it, so I'm pretty sure that mass fucking hits up.
It could be. That's possible. Maybe we have another one we can check and test. Because otherwise it's a vacuum leak.
Right.
So, I mean, we have another one we can check it and test it really quick if you wanted to.
Okay, just check with the guys in the back, man, now.
Yeah, we have one on the shelf. I know they do.
Okay.
Yeah. So the idea is we'll put a new MAF in, we'll test it. If it is, if it fixes everything, we're good to go. If it doesn't, then we know there's a vacuum leak. Yeah, you can troubleshoot for it.
Yeah.
But a MAF's really easy to change out, you know, as you see.
Yeah.
So what's the reading now from 25?
25.
Still 25?
Yeah, but the mass airflow went up a little bit, but not enough because it was so far off before.
Uh-huh.
So we were like 3.0, 3.1. Now we're 3.3, 3.4. But it's still not enough. And I checked fuel pressure, I checked injector scaling, I checked all the other stuff. So it should be good. It should come out accurate.
And the map is just the reading, like inline reading right now. There's nothing to do with like mapping or anything, right?
Correct. That's just the reading. It reads what it reads.
So what should it read when it's clean?
About 4.2.
I wonder if the air filter is there. Although it has that mesh thing on top of the filter.
Even if it was still, it's not getting air from somewhere else, right? It would still get air, you know.
Oh, so you're saying that the reading is slow at the MAF, but on the engine it shows like it's getting air from somewhere else?
Right.
So there is a leak.
Or the MAF is reading it correctly because it's bad.
Gotcha.
Tony got you some chocolate.
I like chocolate. Oh, nice.
It's a coffee buzz.
Fuck yeah, with caffeine in it.
She's like, oh, don't like this. And she grabbed it.
Cool, thank you. I need some food though. Are we doing lunch yet? Do we have lunch plans yet?
Tony's grandma from California says someone have a lunch with them, but no one else has.
Okay. So yeah, so the sensor sees 3.3, but whether it's right or wrong is what we don't know. If it's correct, and we'll know that we put the new one in, then there's definitely a leak. If it's wrong, put the new one in, it'll fix it.
Yeah.
So.
Fucking vacuum leaks. I hate those things.
Yeah, well, I noticed that the tip-in was a little funny, like it was hesitating a little bit on tip-in, and it's a little better now, especially since you guys cleaned it.
It's like poking first?
Yeah, and when they get dirty, they respond slow, and that happens a lot too. Also, like if I do this, like that should hit like 50 or 60 grams per second on the mass airflow sensor. And it did that, so it's doing that all right.
Well, now the reading is better.
Well, it's still idling down.
idling,
It still idle down, yeah. But on a good rev, you'll see 50 to 60 grams per second of airflow. Or more. Or more. You can go as high as 75, depending on how much throttle you give it and how high you rev it. But usually I do like something like that. It's like 50 or 60. That's 46. It's 49. 48. So we're close, but it'll still be a little low.
And where do you see the other correction thing you mentioned? Is that the 25 thing?
Top left?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's air fuel correction. That's how much air it's adding, how much fuel it's adding
For the
for the air. Yeah, well, they can't find the mass airflow sensor. They're going to steal it from the car.
you went to sleep.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
And that should read what you think?
What?
The whatever you said, the too much correction. Or you only judging now?
0. Well, less than 5%. This should be less than 5%. This should be like 4.2 grams per second, somewhere in there.
Percentage 25%?
Yeah,
So it's running rich.
it's running lean. It's adding 25%.
Oh, it's adding. Yeah. Okay.
And you can see the air fuel ratio. It's almost 16 to 1,
Yeah.
which is lean.
What should it be for ethanol? Much higher, right?
14.7.
Is that for ethanol as well? Not just
Correct.
gasoline?
Correct.
Everything is 14.7?
Yeah, because this is a lambda sensor that reads in gasoline AFR. So
okay.
technically, if it was reading actual AFR, it'd be 8.9.
Okay, so it is a bit high.
Yeah.
14.7 now and it's off.
That's just because that defaults to that when you turn it
well,
off. Yeah.
That's one way. Just keep it off.
Yeah, right. Just turn it off. Whatever. Yeah. Fuck it.
Okay. Fucking correction.
I'm gonna try one of these fucking coffee buzz chocolates here.
Yeah.
With no food in my stomach, I'm just gonna start to sweat probably.
It's gonna be dope. Gonna kick in hard.
Dark chocolate coffee buzz. All right.
These go vacuum lines as well.
That's a vacuum line, yeah. Oh, per bar. These are little bars. Oh, wow.
Did you steal it from another car?
I did.
Oh, they can find it?
Yeah. Do you need the lid on the air box for a test? Okay.
Oh, that one. All right. So why does VE go up when you go up with altitude? Now it's important to realize is just because VE goes up doesn't mean power does. All right. The volumetric efficiency is just what percentage of the engine's volume is ingested into the engine, right? So if I have 100% VE, that means I get 2.5 liters in this engine, 2.458, what the fuck it is, liters of air is drawn into the engine every rotation. Now, that's volume. That's not mass. That's important to realize. So, when you tell someone the VE goes up with altitude, people are like, what? Fuck you. I always lose power. Yes, you do lose power. But it ain't because of the VE. It's because the mass drops. If the air is less dense, there are less molecules per unit volume. So while you're drawing in more air, more volume of air, you're still getting significantly less oxygen molecules because the air is less dense, so you have less mass in it, okay? So the problem is people screw up and don't get their mind right about it. Mass is what makes power. The more mass you have, the more power you make. Plain and simple. Not volume. Because I could have 200 degree air and have 1.6 liters, or have 1.4 liters of 32 degree air. I'm gonna make more power on that 1.4 liters because the air is so much. Why isn't that connected here? What's going on? Disconnect, yes please. It feels lane. It feels lane sitting in it. The post start was kind of hesitating. Leak. Got some cleaner spray around the TGVs or something? Yeah, your basements.
No TGVs, it should be the deletes.
Right, yeah, with the housings, right? Yeah. So you don't make more power with elevation, right? And that's important to realize when I say VE goes up, but mass does not. Mass still drops a lot, and mass drops way more than VE goes up. So you still lose power with elevation, but the engine actually moves more volume. And so that's important in tuning because if you're running a speed density system, not a MAF, running a speed density system, it goes based off of manifold pressure and manifold temperature. So if the manifold, I'm trying to say here. So if you go strictly off manifold pressure and temperature, that's to give you the density of the air, but that doesn't give you the volume, right? You need to know the VE of the engine. If the VE of the engine was to go up, but the pressure and temperature were the same, then you would run lean. Because it doesn't know that. It doesn't know the VE unless you program the VE into it in the speed density system. So you have to know that the VE goes up without the 2, so you can tell it, increase the VE, otherwise the car's going to run lean. So when you put your foot down to the floor at sea level, in theory you should get 14.7 pounds of air pressure in the intake manifold. If you're 11,000 feet, you're going to get, what is it, 11,000? It ain't much. Is it 10 pounds or something like that? It's not very much at all. I have to look at that, but it's a lot less manifold pressure. Sorry, they're under the hood now. Anyway, so what I'm saying is about 11. 11 at 7K? Okay, so it was around 10. Well, about on 11 actually. So yeah. Now, if oh, it's going to depend on temperature as well, right? And
The
everything else.
boost gauge line was out, so there was.
Oh,
just
well, that'll do it.
Maybe, hopefully.
Want to give it a shot?
Yeah, that'll do it.
I'll still spray around the TTVs and all that.
Hang on, let's see what it reads.
Let's see. Which boost gauge? Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That thing's fucked up anyways, but yeah, okay, that makes sense. Not yet. How did this fucking thing connect? This thing keeps like losing connection.
Hang on, Cody, not yet.
Good?
Not yet, no. Hang on.
Oh, it's still, I got you.
Yeah, it needs to reboot that thing. Rebooting.
It's good.
Oh shit. That was it, yeah.
It's good.
Woo! I gotta pay attention to these little things. Would that show, is there a way to set that correction on the thing for me to notice next time?
Yeah, you just bring it up on your
Put
gauges.
it on the gauges that
Yeah.
it hasn't.
Yep.
So it should read like some negative stuff, not a positive or
It
something.
should be, you know, plus or minus 10%. So it's going to fluctuate continuously based on what's going on. Temperature, pressure,
Yeah,
loads,
but
all
not
those changes.
25 is wrong.
But not 25, right.
And that probably is capped at 25 because it didn't seem to
Correct,
change.
that's how it goes. Yeah,
It's
that's the
probably
limit.
Much more than
Yeah, it
25.
needed more than that. It needed about 38%.
Yeah.
Because it was
yeah.
still 16 to 1, even 25
Yeah.
correction. Yeah.
And now it's 14.7. Look at that. Beauty.
More than likely us pulling the old restrictor out this morning. Had the
Oh.
turbo inlet kind of reefing on a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking tiny little line that feeds that vacuum.
This thing's fucked anyways. Like,
I know.
when it was off, it said 5 pounds of
5
boost.
pounds of boost, yeah. I
Right.
know.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what it has by default, man. Built in.
It's still, if that changes, let me know. I'll have to cut that zip tie off and jam the fucking rubber hose down in there a little bit because
Right.
that bullshit nylon.
Okay. No problem. Sweet. All right, I'll drive it. Right, so we're gonna. Oh, I got a message. What's up, dude? I can't read it because I turned the screen brightness down a lot. It's hard to see. Otherwise, the phone overheats. It gets really hot. So, all right. So we're on the dyno now in Mirch's rally car. SI drive is still functional. It's in sport, but I don't see a selector. Let's get a baseline pull here. Definitely happier than it used to be. Hey, Cody. This doesn't have SI drive anymore, right?
No, map.
But I meant for like the boost select and all
I
that.
thought we disabled that on his last tune.
Yeah, probably. This is his last tune. I just adjusted it for the
I
restrictor
gotcha.
up there.
But I think last time he was here for a tune, we disabled that.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
Good go on that one?
Yeah, everything's good. This would be a good time for me to have exhaust pressure hooked up on the dyno, because it would definitely help for sure to know when the exhaust pressure is through the roof, because that's when you want to change your cam timing. Let's see. Change the power curve here. So it actually made more power this time, right at the bat. 217 with some more torques. It's not a powerhouse by any means. You can see my shorts for a second here. Oh, that's cool. It's static on my screen. That's pretty neat. All right, I just need to use my other hand here to manipulate the dyno real quick. I'm gonna bring up boost and air fuel and all that shit. Oh yeah, I don't have air fuel on this thing. That's right, I forgot about that.
I think we're gonna do lunch soon. Do you want anything?
Absolutely, I'm starving.
Still on the old YouTubes?
I am, yes.
You're an hour and 45 minutes in of static?
Oh, I'll just go by lap right now.
Oh.
I just sat down so I can use the computer.
You need to get a waiting screen.
Right, hit a little button.
Yeah.
Get OBS on my phone.
Have it like play cat videos or something in between?
Cat videos, I can do that.
I don't know.
Or if I sit right here.
Alright, now we're ordering some lunch and I'll come back.
Does he have a bung on his downpipe for an O2 sensor? Could you ask him? Because I got no O2s.
Cody said he believes there should be because it's an NVIDIA and normally they have them up there.
Right now I'm kind of tuning blind without any AFR because there's a cat at the very end of the tailpipe.
I thought we made an extension for these.
I don't know if it works on this one.
It's wrapped in exhaust wrap somehow.
Well, I'm kind of tuning blind right now. I don't have an AFR. We have to, because we need to have AFR indication, right? I can't put your tailpipe because there's a cat right there. So I can't put an O2 sensor there. Okay, best location for exhaust pressure sensor on turbo before the turbine? No, I'd put it closer to the head.
I see.
Because
You just need that for the dyno, right? It doesn't need it to run.
correct, just so I know what we have. I have no idea what the air fuel ratio is.
There's no probes at the end that you can pick.
Right, because your cat's right there. I can't stick anything in it.
On the tailpipe, on the pipe, there is a sensor there, but the wires are cut. So there is a sensor on the pipe. It's just cut the wires.
Really? All the way back there?
Down here.
For what?
I think it was at some point they were running with that shit, and then they decided not to. Or maybe from the last tune. It used to be tuned at this shop in Portland. I don't forget the name. Paul was tuning it there. Cody,
Cody.
there's an exhaust sensor on the pipe. It's just not connected to anything.
Okay. What do you want to do? Just take a peek. See if there's one. It says there's one at the very back. Just take a peek under there. See if there's one back there.
Really? Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I think it's somewhere up here.
Oh, it's up more? No, I'd want it right before the head. In fact, on Anton's car, what he did is he used his air pump ports for the air injection for the air pump. He used those ports and put a sensor in that, and that's perfect because that tells you what it is right there at the port at the exhaust of the engine. I don't know of any more accurate way of getting pressure back there than that right there. So I did the same thing on one of my cars too, but then on my last one I did it at the on the header, and I should have done it like Anton did. The cool thing about that is that those ports in that head, they tie together. They go to the same port in the back. So technically the pressure on 2 and 4 should be really similar. But in the manifold in the header, right, they're divided in an equal length twin scroll setup. So there's a little bit of self pressure like balancing that goes on in the heads on V25, D25, and W25 heads. But on B25 and S20s, you don't have that. So you got to go into the header itself. Like I said, preferably somewhere close to the engine. But the closer you are to the engine, the more heat there is. The more heat there is, the more heat you get to disperse. And the more condensation you can potentially grab as well. Well, yeah. So you want to make sure that you have a line that comes off it, a hard steel line, stainless steel line, a coil potentially, or just a long enough section of hose or of stainless tubing that you can dissipate the heat, and then have a filter on it. It's filter / desurger on it, and I have one I got from T1 Race Development that they use on their GTRs on my car. Now I fucked up and I mounted it horizontally because it looked good. Horizontally was wrong because horizontally it fills up with condensation. You gotta do it vertically, so the nipple on the bottom, any condensation that's in there drains back into the header and gets spit out the exhaust. So mine is wrong and I have to fix it. And since the engine's out of the car and everything right now, it's the perfect time to do it. So yeah, don't do what I did. Don't mount them horizontally because you need the inlet nipple to be on the bottom and to drain out. Yeah, I mean, kind of, right? It was comically enough. It wasn't because it's an O2, it's just because it's a volume. You know, it's a canister, and you need the canister to. And I'm talking about the filter, not the sensor itself. Sensor still, you also don't want the sensor filled with water, so you should have it vertical with the nipple pointing down. So you don't want condensation to get in there and rot the whole thing out. But in my case, I had to put the filter vertical, and I didn't do it. So the filter was filling up with condensation, and the outlet hose that went to my EMS was filling up with water. And I think it fucked the map sensor on my Adaptronic because it filled it full of water. So don't do what I did. Make sure you have those filters and stuff mounted vertically and your sensor mounted vertically so condensation cannot get in them. And then my EMS was down low inside the passenger compartment, and my filter was up high. So the filter was up high on my strut tower, and then the rubber hose went down to the EMS. So any moisture that went above that line in that filter, right to the EMS. So I totally fucked that up. Where are you going?
Panda?
Panda. Okay. I love how their meals look so good online,
Right.
when in actuality they're not like that at all.
You want a 2 entree or a single?
I'll take a 2. Fried chow mein. No. Back to that.
What?
Fried rice. Fried rice. They claim it's only 10 calories more.
Oh, shit.
You're fine. Just hit that. There you go. Okay. Sure. I'll try that.
Or chicken?
No, that one.
Steak?
Yeah.
Want that for both?
No. So you click and hit left for 1. Is that what you do on that? You hit minus?
Do what?
Do you hit minus on that
No, when
now?
you click the next one, it'll equal it out.
Okay. Then give me Kung Pao chicken.
Okay.
So sugar chicken and sugar beef.
There you go. It'll taste just like Fujiyama.
Right on, I bet. What time is it? Hey! Never mind. Any luck?
It's a parent downpipe that they cut just past the bend where it starts to bend back under the car, and there's a V-band there. So if there was one, they probably got removed at some point.
Shit.
Let me just stand in the back with the fucking...
There's still a cat there, though.
I know.
The cat throws it
I
off,
know.
unfortunately. Yeah. Is the cat removable? Is there a removable section in the back?
It's welded in there.
And there's no flanges anywhere in that thing?
Let me double check real quick.
Okay, alright. Yeah, you're gonna need like 7 bar. I would start at a 7 bar sensor. 5 probably won't be enough, depending on how much. When you say around 30 pounds, you're probably gonna need a 7 bar.
There is a bung
Right about here? Oh, it's a good spot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got a jack. I can jack the car up on the dyno.
Oh yeah, that's not a problem. Done it before.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to do it because
Okay.
Otherwise I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, shut this down. Okay. Yep. Smells just close to stoic. We're close.
My fucking eyes are watering.
Yeah.
Do I close the thing?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
We lift it up and try and attach something there? Or
Yeah.
So is this the reading from now?
The 217.
Yeah.
That was the pull I just did.
Right now?
Yep.
So that's with 34, yeah?
Yep.
So with 36 was 207.
That's what it says. So there was definitely a leak or something before.
Yeah.
There's more boost now too, so there was definitely a leak before.
Huh.
Because the boost is the blue line. That's actually boost, yeah. You see it has more boost now through the top end. So it was definitely losing boost before. I thought your turbo was bad last time. I was saying that I think your turbo was bad or something. But if you had a leak and you found it, well then
I think the
obviously
leak was in the intercooler.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can look and see it has like 2 pounds more through the whole range, so
Yeah.
that's
That helps, right?
absolutely, yeah.
And the 13, is that because of the restrictor?
The what?
The 13 pounds?
It's at 20. That's AFR.
Oh, okay.
Look on the right side.
Oh, okay, I got you. 20. Because it's limited to 20, right?
I think you aren't you by class?
Yeah.
20 or 21 or something like that?
Well, yeah, 19 even.
Is it 19? Something I
I
got
don't
right
think it
now.
matters. I'm not that fast, so nobody will
So
question
right,
my,
that they're not up there trying
my
to.
power.
What do they call that? When they make you get inspected and stuff at the end?
Scrutineering, I guess.
Yeah, scrutineering. That's what it was. Yeah, scrutineering. Right.
Nobody will contest my shitty results.
They're like, oh, the guy that got 7th place has got too much power.
Oh, 7 would be great.
You know, all that fucking matters is you having fun. That's all that really matters. All right. Climb out. I'm gonna try.
Have a dignifying move to get out of the rally cut.
Yeah.
And I don't have that next wheel last page, like something like that.
Anything higher?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like this. Then are we gonna, do we take it off or?
No, we just do it right here. We're just gonna loosen the straps, and then we're gonna pick the car up right here on the side. Just gonna jack it up and.
On this side, Cody.
What side? Probably the other side.
Here, you can see it here.
Is it on this side or that side? It's on the top. All right. away from the camera. There's actually more room on this side for the jack.
Okay, that's fine too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
far in the middle.
It's only this far on that side, so at least here you get more jack stability. Too loud. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna grab. I wonder if that's right or backwards on the screen. I don't know how these things work. Let me grab a jack stand for extra protection because I don't like dropping cars on my friends. Stay on my control.
You're gonna have to reset it. It's moving.
I don't know.
I think it just settled
Into the roller.
Sideways car. Been there before.
Right?
Good there.
Yeah. I don't know if it's good to drop it on it, but just a extra catch. All right. So they got a sensor in the mid pipe. It's dead ended, so we're gonna put one in the mid pipe. All right, before you go under there, let's take it out of this thing first so that here, one-handed is fun. Okay, I get this one. Not that talented. There we go. I want to get like a POV streaming camera that I can wear that streams live. I think I would need OBS. Right, yeah. I think I need like OBS on my laptop with a Bluetooth GoPro. Because my laptop has Bluetooth on it, and I've hooked up headphones and cameras and shit to it via Bluetooth, so. I mean, I can just buy a GoPro.
I need to just give you a phone gimbal.
I have one.
You need to be using it more, man.
I know. I have one. It's actually at home right now, next to my keys.
Oh, you broke it now.
Oh shit. Cardboard's no good now. You need to get a new one.
It's correct.
That's correct. Here's the other sensor. Good luck on your removal. I wish you luck, sir, on your journey and your quest.
Might get a bit dusty in there, Cody.
Yeah, it's really important that the sensor stays clean.
The outside too, though.
Right. Actually, the outside has to stay pretty dry too. The outside is part of the sensor.
Yeah, no
It
shit.
reads air from the outside as well. Yeah. It compares outside air and inside air.
It's like a differential thing.
So if they get too wet for too long, they stop functioning. That's why a lot of crawler guys don't have O2 sensors. A lot of guys that do crawling, they just run a straight open
That one
loop.
was wet.
Yep.
Hot
No.
and attractive. What was that scream then?
He's grunting, trying to get it off. Get it off.
Is it tight in there?
No luck?
Oh no. He's shot in there. You did an extension? No. Why? No, it's starting to make bump.
It's just one. It's just one piece now.
Yeah, it's forever together.
Gotcha. Together forever we two.
Mine is.
Don't you know that I would move heaven and earth
Like
to be together forever with you?
And the other thing we can do,
Yep.
you have a welder, and you know how to weld. I do. Cut the fucking cat off the back.
Well, we just drill a hole in the side, put a bung inside.
That works too. Because I'll tell you right now, that one that's under the car is not coming out.
No?
Look here.
Now, where's the exhaust? Is the exhaust all one piece all the way up?
Yeah, he's all the way up.
There's no flanges and nothing?
No. Just where the turbo.
The V-bands?
V-band is.
Is that hard to take it off? Is it bolted up really tight? How's
Yeah,
it?
it's probably as tight as.
Is it? Yeah.
I mean, the cat is here. We can just do it over there.
Right, yeah, we can do a horizontal one right there.
Yeah.
Right in that band.
And it's safe.
Yeah.
You have welder here.
Oh yeah, we got welders here.
We have one here.
Probably. We only have a MIG that can get out here. The TIG won't make it out here. The MIG might. I think the extension cord might be long enough for the MIG. I don't know.
But I mean, how much better is that than a blind tube?
Yeah, I mean it's better for sure. Right? The only issue is I have to be out of here by 1 something. So we have to try and be effective at whatever we're doing here. I have to take my car in for warranty work at BMW. All right, there we go.
So do you want to weld stuff? But I mean, why did you say take the cap off? Like, what happens if you cut it? Then what? Then you can slide the O2 bung in, or the O2,
The thing.
the wide band in.
Right.
Oh, you just need to slide it in there. It doesn't need to be.
Correct.
Just gotta know what air fuel is.
I mean, with that being said, I could just fucking drill a hole right here and just stuff that thing right in it.
Yeah.
Problem is that, you know, there's still some back pressure by this. Not a lot, but a little bit. And so it'd be nice to have the accurate amount of pressure on it, you know, when I'm tuning it. If I drill a hole, I'm letting pressure out.
Right.
Whereas if I don't, if I put a bung in it, I'm not, you know. So there's that side of it.
But is it negligible?
I don't know. No idea how much pressure that cat produces.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a very wide one. You know what I mean? And there's still a lot of stuff in there, so I don't know how much back pressure it produces.
Yeah.
It could be measured if we had a map sensor. You could put a map sensor on it and, with a bung, and then fucking
we're back to
and
square
back to
one.
where we are, right, with no bung, right? So
That's why I was saying, why don't we just cut the damn thing off?
But it's the same thing then, right? Then you still don't have the pressure.
we still don't have the pressure.
Then it's easier to
we
just
don't
poke
know
a
what
hole
it is.
then.
Yeah, you just drill a hole in it. And
Let's
just
go
shove
with
it.
the hole. Right?
Just drill a hole in it.
Yeah, because I get weld that much easier. Then.
Okay. Let's do
I
that.
don't need to take the whole thing off.
It needs to be this big. This has to fit in there.
That?
Yep.
We can add it with that.
Lane,
Yes, sir.
I need a hole saw. A small one though. This has to fit in the hole. I need to jam this into a hole.
Because the cat's up
Usually you
there.
need lube for that, but in this case I just need a hole saw.
Why don't you step in it?
That'll work.
That could work too. Then I need that with a drill. It's for an exhaust pipe though, so step it might take a while.
Well, movie traffic. I just drove to a container.
With a step bit?
Yeah.
Okay. And Tanner's not using mild steel either, right? He's stainless?
Yep.
Yeah, this is mild steel stuff, so it should be alright.
Fine, it's just speed that's the issue.
Right.
Go low. Lo and behold.
So after I get my warranty work on the Beamer done, provided it doesn't take too long, I can work on your car after that.
Hey, where are you going?
What?
Where are you going?
I gotta take the Beamer to BMW Spokane.
You putting that in your beamer?
No, this is going to his car.
The only thing
The half-inch section of that is kind of,
I see.
it'll go, and then it'll stop. You just water it out, and then it starts going again.
The only thing I gotta do on mine is plumb the vacuum port on the turbo into the boost control, and that's it.
The boost port on turbo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be one. Right band area.
Yep, right there.
And I can jam this sucker in there and go right through there.
You can probably pat the hole with that shit we got from the turbo. That should be hot enough. All the.
It's gonna be pretty tight, anyways.
Ah.
It's gonna be pretty tight, anyways, when he sticks it in there.
Okay. So it's not gonna lose that much pressure.
Correct. Not gonna be too bad. I mean, I could. You want to buy one? I have a wholesale account there.
How much are they?
Like almost $400.
400.
Almost, yeah.
The FCP Euro off-brand ones are like 350.
That's not bad.
Not genuine ones, so.
Right. I think they're like $400. I got mine from BMW All Ag.
I don't think that's the problem though, because we had the DME box open, and all the control fuses, everything is right there. So I'm guessing we just fucking move something. Or I might.
Yeah. I mean, I doubt the pump just quit. You get no voltage pump, you get no voltage pump.
But, well, it's not confirmed voltage, but that's what the code says, and you cannot clear it. So key on running, not at all. Like the pump shouldn't be running. As soon as you clear the code, as soon as it rereads, back up. Which to me seems like it's not even trying to spin the pump; it's sensing something. Is weird.
Well, in those cars, when you clear the codes, you have to be sure on some of the codes that you wait until the push to start button light goes out. Then you turn it off. If the light doesn't go out, the ECU is still awake and it won't complete the reset command.
My the MHD prompts me when it's like fully completed.
Oh, okay.
So it does complete, right, and then it sits there and it does its thing,
Mhm.
and then it kicks itself off.
This is mine or Libby's?
That is yours.
It's mine.
Yep.
Okay. Trubo. Woo! That's the 900.
Mhm.
I think the G35 900 is going to be a good match over the 1050. I could be wrong, but we'll find out.
You're not going for 800 horsepower, so it would make sense.
No, not wheel. Crank.
Look at the math on the 1050s yesterday.
This one turns so much better than mine does. What's up with that?
It's horizontal and it's oiled.
Is it mine oiled?
They changed so much, yeah, but turn on its side, it's like 9 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yours is oiled.
I thought we oiled it before.
You did, and then I also did.
All right. Now this is the one for the RS. How's it going?
Good. I'm waiting on separator plate gaskets because
Is that just laying on the header? Oh, okay.
that's the wrong pipe.
Right.
So it had the like bug eye coil cooler, you know, like the sandwichy one. It's really gross.
So the bug eye one's just really big.
Well, it has the cast iron top with the 6 bolt or 5 bolts.
Oh,
got,
that's
like,
the
5
06
thing.
WRX one.
Or yeah, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it had on it.
Really?
So, and that's what this pipe is for, you know, because it goes
At an angle, yeah.
different setup. So we converted it to the 08, or not.
I like the
08, 6.7 STI one.
Oh, okay. I like the GR one because the cross pipe is closer to the engine.
That's what we have. It's just a U.
Because mine is,
Yours is the similar setup.
yeah, the shitty one.
Mhm.
But the 08 one is nicer. It just stays nice and tight. Yeah, loops in and
Yeah,
goes
it's
in.
just, it's 2 90s
Yeah.
of hose, and then it's just this 180.
Yeah, that's what I want to do with mine.
That's what I have coming for that.
Yeah.
You have to order on the other side. They're only like $15 or something.
The pipe?
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that on this.
The oil cools are like 600, or no, they're 3 something. Everything together is like $600. You have to get all the hoses.
Now, which header is
across
this?
the pipe.
Is that mine? That's my.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, there it is. The broken piece. That's
That
mine.
one.
Broken agency power shits.
Oh, and I got you a center section too. There's a VF39 center section there. It has
Uh-huh.
a nick on the compressor wheel,
Okay.
so we can do it all there and then just put housings on it when they come.
I don't have the compressor housings. We got
I
to
know,
do off one
when
of
they
these.
come. So we need the compressor housing off of any
Broken one.
52 up there, and
Yep.
then when your exhaust housing shows up,
Right.
we don't have to take apart a perfectly good working turbo.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah? Yeah. Sweet.
Dom,
Yes, sir.
That rod that's over by your LS, I'm assuming that's not balanced yet?
Correct.
I didn't
Or
see
modified.
I didn't see anything on it.
Yeah. I need to get a good one
Thank you, sir.
and that one so I can balance them together. If I'm making the same weights.
So I mean, you can use the broken one, right?
I think so.
I mean, it's like not anything missing from it. It's like
Right.
maybe a few shaves of metal.
Right. It shouldn't be too bad. Now is it still on the piston?
Yeah, still connected.
Okay. Yeah, if you give me the broken one,
Yeah, I can take that I'll take the piston off of it.
and then I can get to my machinist, and then I'll have him shave the top down to make it narrower to fit the piston like it's supposed to. But then I'll have him do it 10th thou shy on each side, and then just remove as much needed to make the weights match. That should work.
Yeah, that should work.
Plug it in.
Perfect.
It's not a big hole, but it's probably okay.
Yeah, that'll work. I love it.
Made a little anus.
Say what?
Made a little anus. These gotta strap these back, huh?
Yeah, as soon as you get back on the ground, we'll just retighten them. All right, clear.
Beauty.
Perfectamente.
Indeed.
Nothing is more rally than what we just did.
Rather fix. Rally fix. Does this have to be like really tight? Or
No, not at all, actually. Just a little loose.
You want to remove
Oh, that's-
it like that?
One more click. Right there. Right there.
Uh-huh.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be a rally stage proven mod right there.
I mean, we can even drive with that like that. No worries. When we're done, we're just gonna install a smart plug in there.
Just put a little plug into it.
Injector on the other side of it.
Oh, and have fun.
Have ALS. No, yeah. Get those really cool pops and bangs.
With no anti-lag function.
Exactly.
Right. It's all show.
Hey,
All show, no go.
but the pubs, people really don't understand that, man. How they do. There's tons of horsepower. Yeah. Yeah, I was just telling them, nobody's going to contest our results, so we're fine. We can do whatever. We can run without restriction. Won't change shit. The cap doesn't need to be put on that thing, right?
At this point, it would be a good idea. Now that we know it's good,
Hey, Cody, can I have that little thing to put back the...
you probably want to put your old map back
Yeah,
on.
that's what I'm going to do. This one didn't bring much different, right?
Correct.
So, do you still have that little thingy? I'm covered, man. Oh, I didn't know if you hug me.
I'll get that thing.
Exactly that. All right.
It'll straighten itself once I start rolling it. It's pretty close, side to side.
It moved a little.
Still connected. Still connected.
The
all right.
jack couldn't slide.
I feel like my videos of me holding the phone like this and trying to do things one-handed is like, what if the drummer from Def Leppard was a tuner? Now we know.
The struggle is real.
All right. Now we have O2 indication. Because he cut it up.
Well, he said it's fine now. Okay. Because we established that that was not the problem. That was the technique. Hello. Yeah. But I mentioned it when we talked on the phone, but it's really good to see you on this one.
Yeah.
That was fucking scary shit. I
Oh, me or flesh wound?
I'm actually still surprised your kidney works.
Me too.
Yeah, with how fucked up your kidney was.
My kidney works.
Yeah, I think it works.
If I suddenly drop, we'll know a good suspicion.
I mean, you'll know your pee will smell really, really, really bad.
Did you get hit a lot with the kidney?
Yeah, the whole driver door like crashed in, so I was like compacted in the car. And they said that my kidney was smashed, and they thought they were gonna have to remove it. And they monitored it for like
3 days.
3 days to see if it was gonna pull through or not.
Do you eat blood?
No, sometimes I poop blood, but I think that's normal.
That's because you eat blood.
Yeah, right now.
In my country,
Yeah, right.
everybody poops blood.
No, yeah,
Everybody poops blood.
You know, it's like that doctor thing. The guy goes to the doctor and says, I have this disease now. I think there's like, if I eat apples, I shit apples. If I eat pears, I shit pears. What should I do? Eat shit? I think we got
That's pretty good. Yeah, just drop it on there. It's fine.
Alrighty.
Did you plug in the 2 fans?
Yeah, yeah. I hope this is not from here. I chose the wrong day to wear white.
Yeah, you're working on your rally car. It's not a white day.
So the ribbon's good.
I don't know. I'm gonna do a poll and find out.
Yeah. You need to center it or?
It's good.
Not moving.
It's good. All right, stand back, buddy. all the duty cycle. Everything you can to make this turbo spool. So if you noticed that before I closed it, the duty cycle I had like 75%, and then at 6,000 it went right to 0. And if you look at the boost curve, you don't see that. So the boost curve is the upper line. That's pretty much a smooth decay all the way down. Actually, if you look, when I go to 0 AC boost, look at the boost carries a little better, actually. That's kind of weird. There we go, sorry about that. So AFR is the not as smooth one. In fact, we move it out of the way so you can see a little better. I'm going to change the boost numbers here. Make this only go to 25 pounds. There we go. So there's boost. Boost comes in here, it's right around 19.5, 20, and decays away, and I go 0 duty cycle here, and it actually has a little tail on. Looks like the boost goes up a smidge. Now, what's weird about that is that you would think, well, hold on a second, if I go 0 duty cycle, god damn it, sorry. If I went 0 duty cycle, the boost should fall harder, right? Well, it's got a restrictor. And our exhaust back pressure is through the roof right here at this point. So what actually happens is you relieve that back pressure and you relieve the load on the compressor side as well as the exhaust side. And so if we go to the power curve, look at that and see that it doesn't dive off at 6,000 either. Like, it's a smooth decay away as it goes down. You would expect on other cars, if I went from 75% duty cycle to 0% duty cycle, boost power would drop off immediately. But the problem is that the wastegate, all it's doing is increasing back pressure without increasing flow any. And if I was to keep wastegate duty cycle here at 100 until redline, you would actually see power drop because the back pressure is so freaking high. So when you spend time, I say so a lot, I guess I'm saying so much. When you spend time tuning these cars, you find where that knee point is that the boost control system is no longer helping. And if you look here, you'll see that at 10 pounds, 9 pounds, right here at 6,000. Well, if you know a VF, the VF actuator is a 9-pound actuator. So if my boost is already falling to 9 pounds, so I got 80% or 100% duty cycle right before it, and it's already fallen to 9 pounds, well then pulling pressure off the actuator is not going to do you any good. Right? You're not going to get more boost out of it. It's already choked out. So we open the wastegate at this point. It lowers the back pressure a little bit and lets the engine continue to breathe instead of being completely choked out. And it only helps a little bit, but every little bit counts. But if I had the wastegate cycle at 100 all the way through this range, the power would dive even harder through here like this. We would actually lose power band. Not that this is in the power band by any fucking stretch. I mean, you can see power peaks at 44-ish and then dives after that. So but that's rally car for you. If this was that Evo, or if this was a stroke 2-liter, we'd probably have even more torque up here. We'd have more boost and more torque. Although this car in this class is limited to 20 pounds of boost, I think. Or maybe this 2.5 liters, only 20, and 2 liters and something else. But it might be advantageous to these guys to run 2.5 liter because they can't run as much boost. I don't know. The 20? Is that for 2.5s and 2 liters? And for 2 liters. Weird.
Yeah, it's for the class. The four-wheel open is 20 pounds only.
It doesn't matter what displacement you have?
Doesn't matter displacement, 20 pounds.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, right here for you.
Right? Yeah, their rules are kind of whack.
Yeah.
All right, flash is almost done. If I delete fuel tank purge valve and vent gas or atmosphere, what should I do to evap fuel adder or the carbon lean if I don't tune it? The canister, I don't know the answer to that. Why would you even bother deleting it? There's no benefit to deleting it. Unless you're just trying to cut weight or something. It isn't like the evap makes you lose power or anything. Evap is only active in cruise for one, and all it's doing is pulling in fuel vapor, which does nothing to hurt power. It's the exact same fuel vapor that you're running off of. And actually it burns off the lighter hydrocarbons in cruise and leaves heavier hydrocarbons in the gas tank, and heavier hydrocarbons have higher octane. So technically it would, if your fuel tank lasted long enough for you to burn off enough light hydrocarbons, it would actually improve your octane in power. So I don't know why you delete it. But if you don't have the evap line hooked up to the manifold, then yeah, you got to zero that out. So I changed the wall wetting on this one a little bit. I reduced it at the highest area. See if that'll crisp up the response. If you dive a little too rich in tip in, or as load increases, you'll quench your burn a little bit, and you'll lose a little bit of energy in it and increase lag. And we're talking minute amounts here, so I just did a little bit. Not a big amount. It's not super noticeable, but it can be noticeable. Oh yeah, this car's deleted for sure. Yeah. The guy was asking the question, like, what do I do if I delete the evap stuff? Yeah. Yeah, this car's on ethanol and shit. Race car and all that. Hose brake, on the manifold. What are you doing to break them? Are you beating on them or something? Yanking on too much, too many mods or something? Yeah, I mean, if you have to delete it, and then if it's not drawn in vapor, then you got to turn down the evap adder, plain and simple. Because all that is you can see it. So what you'll see with the evap adder active, your commanded air fuel ratio when the purge is active will go up to like 17 to 20 to 1 on commanded. And what that's doing is it's leaning the commanded out because it's cycling the purge valve, so it knows you're getting fuel vapor from the tank, which is combustible. If it didn't do that, you would run rich. And that value, how well you draw in air, or vapor, into the engine, changes with engine modifications. So if you're in cruise and you're at a different manifold pressure than you would normally be, then you'll actually draw in maybe less or more. And so you gotta tweak that value a little bit. Food's here? Okay. But if you delete the evap completely and you don't have to go into the manifold, then you don't want to target a lean AFR, because then you'll actually run lean instead of have the fuel there to compensate, or the fuel vapor to compensate. So yeah, you gotta zero it out. I hope that explained it well enough. He's got a lot of drivetrain restriction. A lot of friction in this drivetrain. This thing does not like to. It just wants to slow down a lot. transmission's rolling. And all the axles and tires, it just sounds like gravel inside this thing. Some of it could be the alignment. You know, with these things, if the alignment is yeah, this just ain't pulling much fuel or much air. I'm only pulling 190 grams per second of air. That just is not much at all. On pump gas, that means you'd be around 190 wheel. So the ethanol is giving us the extra 30 wheel out of it, but just no airflow. Got 75% whiskey juice cycle there in the mid-range. I'm gonna bump that to 100 and see if we gain any power under 5 grand or not. So let's do that. Put this phone down for that. Oh, there's a little phone thing right here. Oh, but it's not horizontal. Well, I have the same holder in my car, by the car. Stay. Hey, it'll hold it. Can't see shit, but it'll hold it for a second. I'll make this change. So what I want to do is I'm going to go into my ethanol flex fuel tables B, and B is the high ethanol concentration, and I'm going to raise this duty cycle to 100%. Now that may or may not seem like a good idea. It just depends on what the turbo wants to give us. And if it'll give it to us, then hell yeah. If it'll give us more boost in the mid-range, and the appreciable intake or increase in back pressure doesn't harm anything, like we don't see a loss in power, then we're going to utilize it. Okay, so we'll save that. Then disconnect from there. And then I flash. Sorry for that. Just I need my hands. So now we're going to do a flash here. Oh, those power runs. We got the power up a smidge on the top end. We got even more on the top end than we had before, and the peak was a little higher. Just 2 poles back to back, and temperature climbs and all of that. So you gotta deal with that shit. You see how the horsepower is getting flatter and flatter. Ideally, it'd be a flat board. That means that you've got everything just maxed out with that restrictor. But this engine geometry is not the greatest for that. It's a good middle ground though.
Can we pull the restrictor off? Or?
Almost. I'm gonna do another pull real quick with this restrictor.
So what do you think? Would it be worth to try to redo the 36 one, since that one showed 207?
I don't think so.
Just not run with that anymore, huh?
No, you can run it. You fixed the leak, so.
So okay.
So you're good.
So we're still gonna put more power.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Awesome. So the first one here was what, 214? Was the red one 214, first one here?
I think so. Oh no. I mean, it probably was around there, but that's not the first run. I deleted the runs. Those are the runs since you put the sensor in the tailpipe.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah. I'll get more noisy a bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little more here in a second. Get my lunch too. Feels nicer. It feels better. Whatever changes I made helped that. Probably wall bedding and tipping. I adjusted both those.
little more air at the time, 194 instead of 189, so that's a whole 4 or 5 horsepower potential. He gave us a little more on the top end even, making that power curve even flatter. See that or not? It's even flatter now, so a little more on the top end. Here's about 5 horse or so. Should focus. Please focus. See the really fuzzy lines? It's that. Did I get some shit on my phone? Yeah, try that. Kill these, bring up the last one again. Looks like one of the older ones from today. Maybe this one? I don't know what that one says. This is from his last time he was here. So, good jump at the mid-range from last time he was here. Through here. A little bit of top end. Mostly mid-range gains, so that's nice. Well, power did dive a little bit that time. Power did drop off some. 6K. Boost didn't though. Boost stayed up. Interestingly enough. That could be timing though. I gotta double check timing or cam timing. Ignition or cam timing. Glitch. Alright. So ignition timing is about 20. Oh yeah, there's a little dip right there. Look at that. It's 24 here and then falls off towards red line. So the load change, yep. So I gotta fix that. You see timing is 24 here and then falls off. So that's because we're probably falling off of the timing advance map. The dynamic advance map doesn't go to this low of a load probably. So I will adjust that and that should pick up some more top end horsepower. Won't pick up the high number because that happens way lower, but that should pick up top end power. So I don't think that's gonna be primary time map. That wouldn't make any sense. I wouldn't have it go less at higher RPM. Yeah, it does not. It actually does only at one spot, interestingly enough. Right at 76, it drops off a little bit, but it doesn't anywhere else. I'm not sure why I did that. Maybe I was getting some knock readings, or maybe I was trying to force them to shift. I don't know. But, so that's not going to do it. We're going to go to, pull this off. Ignition timing, dynamic. And my guess is that it's fall, yep, right there. It's fell the backside of the map. So we'll just do this. We'll make it 8 here as well. Like that. What's this one? This one should be all zeros, yeah. Okay. Disconnect. Flash. This might give us a little bump. A little bump would be nice. I mean, it's over $6 grand. It ain't like he spends his time up there a whole lot, you know. But if I could flatten that horsepower curve a little more and give him the ability to go there if he needs to, especially with the, I don't know what gearbox this is, but it feels like the longer gearbox. Oops, I turned the key on and I turned it off. There's 2 steps to that. There we go. with the longer gearboxes, the RPM drop between gears is kind of sad. It's kind of bad, and that's an issue that a lot of the rally guys do. That they go from the long gearbox to the short ratio box, like the 04 gearbox, 04 to 06, or the JDM gearbox. The JDM one has an even shorter fit than 6th as well, that matches the 1 through 4 better. But it's all very close and very short. And so these guys that have these narrow power bands that are at low RPM, they need those shorter ratios so that they're not stuck in between gears. You know, that there's no power up here in this, you know, in second or third at 6,000, but then if I short shift into third, then I fall down out of the power band because there's just not enough. What am I trying to say? I'm multitasking, and that's hard because, as you heard me say before, I have a penis, and therefore I have a hard time multitasking. So I apologize if I sound like I'm rambling too much. All right, let's see. Yes, please replace. All right. Now, let's be honest, he's not going to spend a whole lot of time over 6. But if I can make the power curve flat as can be, that gives him the option of doing it. If he's in a turn and it's just a long sweeper and he just needs to stay in a little longer, then at least he'll have more power. You know, shifting in a turn isn't the smartest thing to do sometimes, unless you're trying to get the car a little squirrely or trying to, you know, unload the chassis for a second and load it again, things like that. So typically you try and keep in a gear. And if you can go to 6 or 65 without losing too much horsepower, then I almost said more power to him, but that was too literal.